Hi everyone, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company and welcome back to my series of MAISEMORE apiary sponsored videos for 2017. Today is one of the last in the series of videos. It's now early September and we're going to be checking out a few hives today, but looking specifically for the amount of stores that the colonies have. We've been treating colonies over the last month, those that needed treating for Varroa, and now we're looking specifically at the amount of food stores that they've got in order to provide them with sufficient to see them through the winter. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button. We're going to be uploading lots more videos over the coming months, and also over the winter we'll be taking a look at some microscopy work and also helping more beginner beekeepers get started with some online courses, so look out for those. We've also got our Facebook group, which is called Stuart's Beekeeping Basics, and there we've got nearly 2,500 beekeepers all helping each other out with all of the basics in beekeeping, and some very experienced beekeepers in there also offering advice, tips and techniques to anyone who's just getting started in beekeeping. So if you haven't yet taken a look at that, please do pop over and have a look at our Facebook group. So today we'll take a look at one of the MAISEMORE apiaries poly hives that we've got. It's a commercial bee hive, and if you haven't yet had a look at some of the other videos, take a look at the playlist, which will show you all of the different videos that we've recorded in this series. And so we're going to get the smoker lit, I'm going to get my suit on, and then we'll go through into the apiary and just take a look at the colony and see how they are specifically for food stores, and then potentially we may need to put a feeder on them and then bump up the amount of sugar stores that they've got using some heavy sugar syrup. It's amazing how quickly the nettles have grown around this hive, so I'm actually just going to trim back some of the nettles so that I can get around and then be able to show you the hive close up. Okay, so that's a bit better. We can now get around the back of the hive and we'll move the camera in so that we can have a close look at how this colony is performing. So as with all of my inspections, I usually start with a little bit of smoke across the entrance, and then with these MAISEMORE apiaries poly hives, they have a really handy little strap across them to hold everything in place. I just remove that, and then we can come round to the far side of the hive and just remove the roof, lay that down in front of the hive. I'm finding an awful lot of earwigs now running around, and interestingly with this particular feeder it appears the bees have got themselves under the baffle. They're actually, it doesn't look as if the baffle goes down far enough, and they've actually come through and under and into the syrup on the left hand side as you're looking at it. The right hand side is obviously completely clear, so I've taken all of the previous syrup that we put in here, so we'll just give them a little smoke under there, and then we'll take the feeder off. Lots of ants running around, so the ants have obviously found the supply of sugar. Right, so this colony has been expanding through the summer. They weren't a particularly big colony going into the summer. I'll just move this end frame just to break the seal at the edge here. They've made a fairly strong seal between the side wall and the frame, so hopefully we've got 12 frames in this particular colony. I usually like to put a dummy board in, but unfortunately this year I ran out of time and materials early in the season, and as a result we've been putting an extra frame in. So with this particular frame you can see the bees are storing lots of syrup, and there is a little bit of forage available to them at the moment, but this is all stores on both sides. So we'll pop this one at the front of the hive. And then we can have a look through. And again, this frame is stores. So I've switched my inspection position to a kneeling position. A couple of years ago, I suffered a fairly serious back injury and had 2 prolapsed discs, and unfortunately it does mean, being quite tall, that I do suffer from ongoing back issues, so I have to be fairly careful. And any of you that are out there that are tall or suffer from back problems, I sympathise. So this one has got lots of stores in, you can see it in the cells there. So I'm pleased with the amount of stores that I'm seeing at the moment in this colony. So the MAISEMORE apiaries poly hives are available on the Bees online website. I'll put all the links as usual in the description. Again, lots of stores, and I think we'll probably add just a little bit more, maybe another gallon of sugar syrup. We've switched now to heavy sugar syrup. It's the beginning of September, and from now on any feeding that we do will be with heavy sugar syrup. Here we're into the first frame of brood, just checking to see eggs, and there's lots of eggs and brood in this frame. The bees are milling around. Let's just move some off the comb, and you can probably see some of the brood, if not the eggs, in the frame. So that's looking really good. Lots of bees emerging. I'm just going back to the inspection position. Kneeling beside a hive is actually quite a good position to have. It keeps you close to the colony, and you can lift the frames out and rest them on the top bars of the other frames like this, and then you're not putting lots of pressure on your lower back, and that's where unfortunately I suffered the problem. And they do say that once you suffer a bad back problem, it's with you for life, and that does seem to be the case. So if you do struggle with any form of back problems and you're lifting beehives around, try and get some help where you can. So the poly hives, this is our first year with the poly hives. If you haven't seen the videos so far in this series, there is a playlist, and you can look at all of the various videos in the playlist, right from the point at which we see the hives at the BBKA, British Beekeeping Association trade show, all the way through to more recent months. So my views on them so far are they've been okay. We've not had any major issues with them. I do worry about the clear Perspex cover board or crime board, but they do seem to be able to cope with that. Sounds like somebody's got the strimmer out, so apologies if there's some extra noise on the mic. In fact, we're quite close to the river, and I think it might be the local authority trimming the weeds in the river. I did see them yesterday out and about, so that's probably a continuation of that job. So we've got lots of brood, there's plenty of bees in here. The queen has been laying well in lots of the frames, so that's all good news. Again, lots of open brood. So these are going to be our winter bees going into late autumn and early winter, and then as they die out, so bees that come through over the next couple of months will be the main set of winter bees. And there's our queen down in the bottom corner with the little white dot on her over here. So she's looking fine and healthy. Again, the food stores are looking pretty good on each frame, so the bees have been putting away some honey stores and pollen stores around the central core of the brood nests, and that's really good. And now as the season progresses into our autumn, the brood nest will diminish in size, and as it becomes smaller, so they'll backfill the available space with more stores. So we've got the seam of stores running around the brood nest. You can see the brood in the central position here. Looks like we've got a spot of chalk brood in this cell, and overall it's not too bad. We'll just have a quick look in this cell, see what's going on here. Again, chalk brood. So we've got a few cells of chalk brood, but otherwise they're fit and healthy. And so the stores are going in all the way around the brood, and these guys are going to be fine for the winter with just a little bit more food. And it's going to be interesting to see how the poly hive functions compared to the normal wooden hives that we've got. This frame is all stores, so that's fine. They're continuing to pack away pollen. We've got a wasp now trying to muscle in just over here. Come on, out you go. And with larger colonies such as this, wasps are never really a major problem for me. I do see wasps loitering around, but most of the time the guard bees at the entrances taken good care of them and don't allow them access into the hives. So now we're just going to ease back the frames into their original position. And the side wall of the poly hive works perfectly fine. You can put quite a bit of pressure on it, so squeezing it back as I am. Let's just move the bees off that edge. Using quite a lot of pressure at the side to ease the frames and push them all across the built-in runners of the poly hive. Works fine. And now with this last frame, I'm just going to shake the bees off so that we can then slide this final frame in without rolling and killing bees as we go. And then we can just slide that in. The propolis tends to build up on the spaces, so they can be quite tight for that extra frame. And as usual, I'm finding that we do have a few casualties around the edge of the top, but that would happen with wooden hives as well. Okay, so I'm happy with this colony. They're building up nicely for the winter, lots of stores at this end. All of the frames have got quite a lot of stores in, and I'm looking to have around 15 to 20 kilos of stores, depending on the type of bees you've got. Some require more, some will have considerably less, and it's always interesting in the spring to find out which bees have eaten all of their stores and which ones have just taken a minimal amount. So we are going to put some more syrup on them, so we'll just pop the feeder back on. Just pop on sideways and then slide it across, and hopefully that way we don't damage, kill any bees. So because we've got bees in this side and they've obviously managed to get themselves under the baffle at this end, I'm just going to put the feed in the one side, and hopefully that will encourage the bees back out and across. So we'll leave this is the cover board, we'll leave that on as it is for now, and I'll just go and get the sugar syrup. So we'll just move the cover board to one side and then pour in some sugar syrup. This is heavy sugar syrup, so this is a mixture of 2 to 1, and we'll just put it in that side because I don't want to drown the bees in the other side. And then once we've finished feeding, we can have a look at why they're able to get under there and make some adjustments. So that's good. And all that remains now is to replace the extra equipment that we have with this hive. So I'll leave the queen excluder with them. I'm actually going to remove the Varroa board because the ants have crawled up inside and have placed lots of eggs inside the board, so we'll leave that one out. So we just need to place our queen identification number back in. Just remove the remaining ants from the roof, and then we can pop the roof back on before strapping it together. And this colony is building up really well for winter, and I have no doubt that they will have sufficient stores within a very short space of time to be able to overwinter successfully. So I'm pleased with that colony. They're looking really healthy, and can't wait really now to get them through the winter and get into next spring again. I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you see the little bell symbol, click on that and you'll get a notification by email each time we upload a new video. We're going to crack on with some more inspections, but until next time, thanks for watching.